Yeah, it's interesting that you've mapped it to the physical world. A lot of the analogies I've heard about the metaverse, which I don't agree with, is that it's like buying a piece of Manhattan 250 years ago. Well, the problem is there can be many metaverses, and the DAO or the decentralized organization, right, could decide for that metaverse to issue new plots of land, and that can happen. In your case, buying a plot of Manhattan is like buying a plot of Manhattan because there's only a finite amount of space, and buying a plot in the Sahara Desert is exactly what it feels like. It's pegged to the real estate.
That's right. It's exactly right. Every plot of land in SuperWorld has it's mapped longitudinally, latitudinally blocked on top of the real world, and there's 64.8 billion of those plots. And if you have one, now you own it and you can reprice it. It's an NFT. You can sell it or you can keep it. And if you keep it, again, you're a key stakeholder in that area. You're able to share in the monetization that occurs there, and you're able to build and create content. And you're able to build and create content anywhere, by the way. But when you own the land, you really become a key stakeholder in those locations.
I'm eager to dive into how one owns land, especially a a digital representation of real land. But before we go on to that, certain companies are interesting when they create a whole platform or ecosystem. Google Maps is an ecosystem too. You don't just use Google Maps to zoom in and zoom out and see how things look. You can search within that environment. You can click on a business or a restaurant, and you can open up a page and you can interact with that restaurant in a real world setting by booking a reservation or by calling them, right? What does that mean when it comes to what you're doing, SuperWorld? If you are representing the real world in a digital environment, how does that linkage happen? If you use the Google Maps analogy, is there a platform play here?
Yeah, you nailed this one. Again, the idea is that if we're moving to this immersive environment, and that environment occupies real world space, and we're enabling, you to do analog activities and receive virtual feedback or benefits from doing those activities. Tokenization is one way of getting that feedback because you receive crypto back to live to earn, right? Doing activities that you love and you're earning crypto, similar to the play to earn analogy. But also, could you go to a concert and get an NFT as a proof of participation, or as an accessory for some kind of memorabilia or collectible from attending that concert that's virtual, right? So in other words, can you do physical things in the real world and receive these virtual kind of benefits or virtual kind of feedback mechanisms? And then vice versa, can you do something virtual like buy an NFT and get access to something physical, or own something? So buy an NFT and own a piece of real property, right? Which is already happening. Or, we did an NFT sale where the buyer of the NFT gets a lifetime membership to a luxury club called Custom House in New York and LA. We did a 3D super yacht and the Monaco Yacht Show, where you buy the super yacht and you get access to Monaco Yacht Show and other benefits. So, I think what we're trying to do is create and experiment with this virtual, physical, virtual linkage, and add tokenomics to that. And because we occupy real world space, again, in a geospatial environment, you're able to, again, with an infinite number of filters on the world, my world, your world, Coca-Cola's world, Nike's world, Douglas Elliman's world, you name it, right? Property tech, all of these things that are happening and enabled there. Those linkages are very important because I could be somewhere physically and participate with that virtual content that's around me. Or maybe I can't make it to the event or make it to the vacation or something. But I can, potentially see that content in VR, see that content placed somewhere in AR in my environment, wherever I am, or go to a WebGL environment with an avatar and do all kinds of things. So what we're all about at SuperWorld is, one, we're again, software agnostic. So, however you want to access this content, in any one of those environments, we want to provide that to you. We're hardware agnostic. So if you want to be on a laptop or you want to be on a mobile phone or glasses or a headset, we want to provide all those things. Later, it'll be haptic suits, where you can sit back and get a massage or something, wherever you are. And again, blockchain interoperability really is a very important aspect of this too, because in Web3, you are owning these environments, but you're also owning the assets that are being produced in these environments, whether that asset is an NFT that gets you a real house, or you're buying the real house itself, or doing something, again, physical, and you're getting that virtual feedback, as I said, and you're owning both of those things.
How do you think about our identity in the metaverse? Because there's two extreme spectrums when you think about how people engage online. One is to put your real name with your real photo and it's authenticated, people know it's you. If you do something online and it's stupid, you've killed your reputation. On the other hand, you could have a made-up username with a made-up photo, right? And in between that, there's this concept of pseudo-anonymity, where it is you, but you're going under you're a real person. You do have membership to an organization. Maybe you live there. Maybe you work there, right? You could be a Coca-Cola employee, but you've got a username that you've created that isn't linked to your real world. How do you think we will engage in the metaverse when you talk about living, working, and playing?
Yeah, I think that these environments are very interesting because there is a lot of optionality for people. In Web3, there's anonymity in many ways to be able to activate a wallet and transact very anonymously in many cases because of just decentralization in general. But at the same time, there is value in having an identity that people understand or trust or relate to, maybe in the physical world. But I think the same thing applies virtually. Someone could actually, in this virtual setting, interact with your pseudo identity, right? And actually prefer that one. The movie Ready Player One kind of demonstrated that, where I think, throughout the movie they were kind of interacting in one way, and then they realized, at the end, the character was someone else, and so I think the idea is that in the metaverse, that optionality is definitely a feature of the opportunity to be able to play different parts of your life in different ways. If you're likely doing some kind of banking transaction or some kind of government transaction, you likely have to be your real identity. If you're, playing a game or doing something that's kind of more entertainment focused, you don't necessarily have to be your identity. You can use another wallet if you want. And so that optionality, I think, is going to be very, very powerful because, in the real world, you don't really get that choice. But as it applies to the metaverse and as it applies to kind of this physical virtual feedback, as an example, you could do something with your real identity in the real world, but get virtual benefits to another identity that isn't actually linked to your real identity, because that's where you're sending, all of the benefits from your real identity to that virtual avatar or something like that. So again, you can have both of those things.
In the real world, we are sometimes, I don't want to say pseudo identity, because it's not an identity we choose, but it's an identity that the world around us, the society, chooses. You might be a parent in one context, you might be a student in another context, and you might be guest number 322, and God forbid, United Airlines passenger, sitting in seat, 34C, which is a really bad seat, by the way. I would know that. And that even extending that further, we do have a choice too. Human beings like to interact with each other, but sometimes it's not about what your name is or even how you look. And many would argue it shouldn't matter how you look. You take these fancy dress parties that are very common during Halloween, and there's fancy dress parties all the time. People love going to them, right? At that point in time, you're Mickey Mouse, you're Tarzan, whatever you want to be. People actually enjoy playing an identity and having something more in common in terms of what we agree on. And what I mean by that is not the color of your skin, not your identity. Age is a tricky one, obviously, right? Because age is something that is a governance issue. But it might be that we're in the same bar, or we like the same movie. And I think in the virtual world, that's represented by NFTs, which signify membership to a community. It's the same reason why this crazy concept, people may have heard of these monkeys, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. People are buying these digital avatars that are extremely unique, and even some celebrities are using them, right? And Rish, how much are they going for? Do you know?
Millions of dollars.
Crazy,
$20,
right?
$30 million, I think. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. The number goes up, every week.
And that to me was the first time I felt, okay, this isn't just some random digital art. This is membership people are seeking. And I think that's where the interesting bridge happens in the metaverse and the real world and physical world. We all want to belong somewhere. We want to be identifiable with a group.
Yeah, you're right. The communities, which is what you're kind of referring to when you're talking about Bored Ape Yacht Club or any other communities in Web3, I think is another aspect of enabling identity for people in different parts of their life, right? So they could be an executive in the real world, but they represent themselves as a Bored Ape of some other type of avatar that maybe represents some other part of their personality that they want to kind of put out there. So